Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a 1v1 replay analysis for our boy Slick Schmitty, who submitted an analysis in our Discord, link down below in the description, as well as details on how to get your own replay analysis done if you're wondering on how to do that. Schmitty's been a long time supporter, so we're going to do him a solid, do an analysis, try to help him out as much as we can. So obviously, first things first, gotta hit the ball on kickoff. Step number one. Could just be a one-time fluke. We'll keep watching and see if that problem occurs again, and if so, we'll try to give you some tips on kickoff. But afterwards, here on your rotation back, you're deciding to pick up this midline of pads on your retreat, which is fine. That's fine. But the issue then becomes the fact that you left your ball cam off this entire time, right? So the ball is bouncing out this way, your opponent's coming from somewhere in this vicinity over here, and you're rotating back. You know you're picking up this line of pads on your way back, and you also know that your opponent's going to have a play on the ball at some point over here, so you need to turn your ball cam on, right? You're lined up with this path already. At that point, you can turn your ball cam on because all you have to do is drive straight and you're going to collect all these pads. But simultaneously then, your ball cam will be on and you'll have a much better vision of the play. You know, your cone of vision will be something like this. And then when this player comes up to make their play on the ball, you'll be able to see him and you'll know what's going on before it starts to happen, right? But if you end up all the way in front of the net and you still have your ball cam off like you do, by the time you turn your ball cam on, he could already be shooting, or you could have already shot and the ball's flying over your head and you would have no idea because you left your ball cam off the whole time. So after you line yourself up with the pads you plan on grabbing, turn your ball cam on, right? The little phrase people like to use is ball boost ball, meaning you're looking at the ball with your ball cam on, you turn off the ball cam really quick to line yourself up with the boost, and then you turn your ball cam back on. So ball boost ball. And then secondly, while pointing that out, I also realized that yes, you want to turn your ball cam on as you're grabbing these pads, but secondly, you also don't want to retreat to your net on defense straight up the middle. Ideally, you want to maybe grab this pad here, this first pad, but after you grab this first pad, you want to come back post. And you always want to rotate in, you know, everything is situational in Rocket League, but 95% of the time you want to rotate to the back post. This is the back post. Since the play is over on this end, this would be the near post, and this is the back post because it's further away from the play. So you would want to grab this pad and then actually veer off in this direction to grab the second pad. And that way you're facing from the far post to the play, and anything that gets shot towards net, you can drive forward and save. Whereas if you drive into the middle of the net, you're only covering this front half, and if his shot ends up going over your head and behind you, it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to save it. So two things there. You need to turn your ball cam on after you've lined yourself up with your pads that you're planning on picking up, or your boost that you're planning on picking up, ball boost ball. And then secondly, you don't want to rotate straight into the middle of the net. A lot of the time you're going to get caught facing backwards. You're going to be caught facing in the net instead of facing outwards of the net. And again, it's just going to make your defense a lot easier and give you a higher % chance of actually being able to save something. So you see how you kind of you have no idea what his positioning on the ball is, what he's planning on doing at this point in time. But if you had your ball cam on, you could see his positioning. Where are you? You could see what he's doing and sort of already know what you need to do before you have to do it. But the way that you waited to turn your ball cam on, by the time he's made his touch, like, you have to instantly react to it. I hope you see the difference, and I hope you see the advantage of turning your ball cam on sooner there. Okay, good job not to chase him into his corner. Although, bad boost grab here. Bad boost grab here because he doesn't have to play this across. He doesn't have to. So you're probably stealing this boost, thinking he's slamming it across his net, taking it to this corner. but the ball isn't moving, right? There's not momentum on this ball going in this direction that sort of forces him to have to go in this direction. The ball is pretty much rolling straight up the wall, so he does not have to send it in this direction. He can let it come back down or even wrap around the opposite side of it and push it back this way. So if the ball was moving very quickly and very fast this direction, I would say, yeah, there's a really good chance that he's going to take it in this direction, and stealing that boost is a good idea. But because the ball he is not forced to play it in this direction, you're kind of grabbing this boost for no reason and taking yourself out of position. Ooh, good touch there. I've done a replay analysis for you before, and I think I remember you missing like that exact aerial. It was on Wasteland. See, I remember my boys, and I remember their analysis that I do for them. I'm pretty sure you whiffed like that exact aerial last time on Wasteland. So good job improving and getting that touch. But had you not preemptively went for the boost when there wasn't really a sign of him taking the ball in that direction, you wouldn't have got put in that position to begin with. All right, let's see this. Let me see this one more time. So I would be careful. I would not challenge this ball. I would not full challenge this ball. I wouldn't dive. I wouldn't flip into this challenge. I would drive challenge, try to poke the ball away from him, and then turn back towards your corner boost. Shadow the play a little defensively until you see what the outcome of your little touch on the ball is. Because the reason you don't want to challenge this is because he can just flip into this and play it past you, and then he's got an open net behind you, or he's got a very high chance of being able to score before you can get back. And you also don't want to dive at this for the 50, because I mean, what's going to happen if you dive through this and 50-50 it, right? It's just going to shoot up and recenter. This angle, there's not really any benefit in challenging this ball. I hope you can see that, because if he gets any touch on the ball as you 50 it here, it's moving it in this direction. It's deflecting it in this direction. Best case scenario, he doesn't get a touch on the ball as you 50 it, and like I said, all that's going to happen is it's going to roll up or shoot up off the top of the ceiling and recenter. You're only going to have like 50 boost, if that, and you're not going to really be in a position to do anything with the ball anyways. So really just not a lot of value in going for this challenge here. I would like to see you wait until you have a free, I'm gonna copy Flakes on this, quote Flakes, free, safe, clean challenge. Free, safe, clean ball. This is not free, safe, clean. Meaning you're not just getting a free touch on the ball. If he can 50 you, especially at this level, at Platinum, you don't have to take any 50-50s really. At Platinum, you'd probably be better off not taking any 50-50s. If you have to take a 50-50, it'd probably be better just to drive challenge or fake challenge. So here, you're taking a 50-50. It's not a good 50-50 to take. Just poke the ball and drive back, or don't even challenge at all and put yourself in a shadowing position. All right, looks like we're getting scored on here. So this is a tough 1v1 position. This right here, 99% of players cannot do anything with this ball offensively. If you're like Zen, literally if you're like Zen level, you can maybe find some sort of sorcery to turn this into an offensive chance. But this positioning here is just a fact. As an attacker on offense, when you find yourself in this position, you just have to accept the fact that there's really not much you can do. Any touch you make, right? I mean, if you make a touch, it's bouncing off this wall, centering for him, and he counterattacks. If you pinch it, I mean, it's going across the net. If you try to dribble it, he comes and challenges. this is just not a position where you can really do anything realistically with the ball. So when you find yourself in this position, you just kind of have to make the realization, okay, I can't really do anything with this ball. You can either try to mind game him, try to stay close, see if he panics and just misses the ball on his challenge, but just stay grounded here. If he rushes and clears it past you, then you can start rotating back, or if you're low on boost and you're not going to be able to catch up to him if he does do that, you just have to give up on the play, grab a couple pads or grab the mid boost, and then you're on defense essentially. There's unfortunately, like, that's just a thing. In 1v1s in this position, unless you're like a god at the game, you can't really do anything offensively here. With that said, I guess one step you could take that further if you want to is understand, okay, I can't score now, but instead of just giving up the ball like I recommended, you could try to get a really hard pinch on the ball. That's about your only option. Get a really hard pinch on the ball, or if you can, wrap around this side and just hit it over this direction. Hit it over here, steal the boost, and maintain your offense. But this position here, you just gotta realize you can't do anything at this position, and you just gotta give up on immediately scoring here. All right, let's see how this kickoff goes compared to the last one. Well, that should be a goal. Nice. So I mean, your approach is as if you're trying to do a speed flip, I think. Let me see your opponent's kickoff. I mean, obviously they messed up their kickoff this time too, but what kind of kickoff are they trying? Well, theirs was much worse than yours. I would say you're probably honestly better off just doing a front flip kickoff, meaning your first flip, instead of doing this attempted speed flip, until you master speed flips and you can actually do it. I think you're better off just doing a front flip kickoff. Flip forward here, only boost when you're facing forwards, and then flip into the ball again. However you want to flip it, you can flip into the ball the second time with a diagonal flip or a front flip, whatever. I mean, you could also do a diagonal flip kickoff, but doing a more common or a more basic kickoff right, doing a front flip kickoff correctly or a diagonal flip kickoff correctly is better than doing a speed flip kickoff incorrectly. So do whatever kickoff you can do correctly. Don't try to do a speed flip kickoff but not actually do it. And you're not actually doing a speed flip kickoff here. So keep working on those speed flips if that's what you're trying to do here. But until you actually master it, like in training or in custom training packs where you have to do a speed flip in order to touch the ball, they have those training packs. You can search, like, I think I have one. Change mode, act training, custom. I'll show you one right now. I've got one here. Musty speed flip. There's the code on screen. You can pause it, enter it in, favorite it, and work on that. Once you can actually do those and you can actually get a touch on the ball, and you can actually, I'm pretty sure in these you're actually supposed to be able to score the ball. They're only reachable if you do a speed flip. Once you can do those, then you can start to do a speed flip kickoff. But until you've got them mastered, you're better off just doing a more basic kickoff that you can do correctly. Nice. Good job. Good job. Let me go back and see his kickoff again here. So his issue on his kickoff is just that he's doing a front flip, but he's doing it like at a leftwards angle, right? So he's grabbing this boost, and instead of making sure he's facing straight for his front flip, he's actually still facing in this direction a little bit when he front flips. So his looks really scuffed. If he would have grabbed this boost and just made sure he was facing straight before initiating his front flip, it would have been a lot cleaner from him. But his kickoff isn't great either, but he is doing a front flip kickoff, and he does beat your messed up speed flip kickoff. And the other benefit of just doing a basic kickoff correctly is you can usually save about 12 boosts after the kickoff instead of burning it all. Okay, all right. This is going to be a little bit more advanced. Again, you're high platinum, but you can definitely manage this. So what I'm going to say here is I like that you're trying to dribble. I like that you're trying to take possession of this and make a play, make a flick or something. But really great piece of advice, great, not phrase, but like just something I heard that really helped me was when you're taking your first touch to set up your dribble, don't hit it towards your opponent. Your opponent's over here, moving in this direction. And so you're cutting around the ball and literally taking your first touch towards him, which will give him the opportunity to come and challenge you. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to take your first touch towards your opponent. Instead, let the ball roll out a little bit more. Take your touch more in this direction. The ball will then land over here in more space. You've got this, you maintain your spacing between you and the opponent, right? By not setting up the ball towards your opponent, by not touching the ball towards your opponent, you maintain your spacing to where he still can't challenge you. And then from that position, can you imagine that? Can you imagine what you're setting up with that touch in this direction? I erase the ball here. If you can picture it, what you're setting up is a chance for like a bounce dribble, is a chance for it just off the first touch. You get a little bounce on the ball gets a little bounce, you're off to the side, and you power shot it on the bounce. You do I think Johnny Boy, the EU brethren call it a half volley, right? A half volley is when the ball is bouncing and you shoot it off the bounce. It bounces. As it's bouncing up, you're shooting the ball. That's what you're doing here. A half volley, if you want to get technical. So instead of cutting it straight at the defender, where you're now closing the distance between you and the defender, that's not what you want to do, because that gives him the opportunity to come challenge you. Instead, take a little touch. It's going to roll slightly more this direction. Actually, let me just play it out a little bit longer. Boom. Instead of wrapping in front of the ball, you came up slightly more at this angle. You get a little bounce on the ball, and as it bounces here, you're diagonal flipping into the ball with the corner of your car, and you're getting a lot of power. I would practice that in training. Get the ball rolling in one direction like this. Practice taking one soft touch sort of on the back side of the ball. You'll get a little bounce, and practice shooting off of that bounce. Or you can even take it one step further and practice getting one more touch on the ball. Get one more little bounce on the ball and shoot off of that touch. That's called the bounce dribble, and super effective, because that half volley shot, that's how you get the most power, or more power on your shots, is hitting the ball right after it bounces. So you get a little bounce on the ball. As soon as it starts bouncing up, you're hitting it with the corner of your car. It's going to get a lot of power. Not only that, but if you actually also take this touch in this direction, again, away from your opponent to where they can't challenge because there's too much space, they can get cut at any point in time. Again, you're opening up. You've given yourself so many more options. You can take the bounce. You can take the bounce shot, right? The half volley shot, the bounce dribble. That's your first option. Your second option then becomes Okay, I'm watching him as it's rolling across this direction. If he comes and challenges, then boom, you cut it around him. He's flying out of the play. You've got all day to finish your open net shot. You see Flakes do that all the time. He preaches the power slide cut. Or another super useful, pretty easy to pull off is the hook shot. As it's rolling around this way, you wind up your hook shot and boom, you just literally drive into the side of the ball as it's rolling across, and you get a ton of power off the hook shot. So those are 3 things you can definitely practice in training super easily. Get the ball, just like in this scenario, get the ball rolling in this direction, make yourself a quick training pack, set the ball up, rolling across the ground in this maybe more of an angle, like something like this. Yeah, rolling across like this. You're coming from like this direction. Practice getting a touch in this direction. Put a little bit of a bounce on the ball and shoot as it bounces. Practice wrapping around the ball and cutting it past the defender. Imagine that as you're practicing it. Literally imagine a defender coming to challenge you and you're cutting it around them. It's good to imagine an actual real scenario when you're practicing things. And then third, get the ball rolling in this direction. Practice hooking around it and just power shot it. Not power shotting it, hook shotting it. Which a hook shot again, you don't even flip. Ball's rolling. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a cough. My throat's a little scratchy. But you're just looping around the ball and literally just driving into it. You'll get a ton of power. Practice those 3 things. Those are 3 great options you have in this position here. Notice you touch it towards your opponent. And if he was still here, right, he kind of anticipated a shot, it looked like, from you. So he rushed back to his net really quick. But if he was still holding his positioning here where he was, because he could have, he's already at the post facing the opposite post. So he's kind of defending everything already. If he had held this positioning, as soon as you hit it in this direction, he could have jumped up and challenged. I also know this one was not you, but another person around your rank that I gave the same advice to before is when you're repositioning, you don't want to drive backwards. You really, most of the time, should not be driving backwards. You always want to reposition driving forward. So after you're here and you realize you're too close, instead of driving backwards to reposition, you should just finish your circle. Finish your circle, and then you're facing backwards and you can reposition that way. Because what happens is, it happened in the exact other replay analysis that I'm talking about. The same thing happened. As soon as he started trying to readjust his positioning going forwards and backwards, the ball just went over his head. But if instead you don't get caught driving backwards, instead you just realize, okay, I'm just going to finish my circle. Well, now you're shadowing. You're in a shadow defense position. And if the ball goes over your head or it shoots towards your net, you're just not able to catch up to the ball in this position because you can't boost backwards, right? As fast as you can go is just a little bit of acceleration going in reverse. So this way, and you're facing this way, you can actually boost and you can easily get into a position where you can clear the ball if it shoots towards your net. So bottom line, the big tip there is, don't drive backwards. You should rarely ever be driving backwards in Rocket League. 1s, 2s, or 3s. Fix your positioning. If you're too close, driving forwards. Finish your circle. But most of the time, just don't drive backwards. Period. Open net miss. Happens to the best of us. Not much to say there. That's a pretty good touch by him, honestly, pretty unexpected. With his positioning, with the way that was going, I don't blame you for getting caught off guard by that. I'm not gonna lie. If we look at that from his point of view, I mean, that's pretty well done, especially for around this rank. Yeah, I don't blame you that much. That was a tough one. Boom. Grab the boost. Nice. A little risky here. I wouldn't go for this ball. Would not go for a shot here. Because, again, remember what you're playing. You're playing 1v1, which means as soon as this ball's past you, it's in your net, essentially, is what that means in 1v1. And the ball gets past you, especially at Platinum, when you don't have super speedy recoveries, you're probably getting scored on if you let the ball pass you. So there's no teammates to help you out, to buy you time to get back. So you can't go for a ball where the opponent can get it past you. You just can't. So he's here, he's right underneath the ball, he's closer to the ball than you are, and he's facing the ball. So if you go, there's no reason that unless he's just assuming, which this happens in 1v1, I will give you the benefit of saying that when you're in Jose's position here, a lot of the time you wouldn't expect this player to go because it's a bad challenge, right? If even happens to me, like I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, there's no way he's going to go for this. It'd be a stupid challenge because I can beat him to the ball and hit it around him. There's no way. But at that higher level, that's the kind of mind games you're playing. You're like, okay, I know he's thinking I'm not going to go for this, so I'm going to go for this. But you're not really playing those mind games at Platinum. Those mind games don't really start happening until like higher diamond, if even that. Probably around higher diamond and low champion is when you start to actually start playing a little bit of mind games with your opponent. But at this rank, it's really all about just playing what you're seeing, playing what's given to you, not trying to mind game your opponent, literally just playing out every situation. I can't think of the right term to use. Playing out every situation cut and dry. What you see is what you get. In this position, he can beat you to the ball. Don't try to mind game him and make, because he's going to go. At this rank, he's going to go. He's not going to try and call your bluff that you're not going to go. He's just going to go. People at this rank, most of them are not thinking of those mind games. So don't get caught thinking yourself into a mind game and outplaying yourself. So I hope that makes sense. He's closer to the ball. He's facing it. If he was maybe facing this direction, then yeah, you could go for the ball because he can't get up and challenge you. But he can easily get up and challenge you and block this. And if it gets past you, he can just run it into your net. I should be free. Good job. So yeah, back there though, I would have probably just... Let me go back. Should probably explain what you should do. Not just what you shouldn't do, but what you should do. I'd probably just fake challenge, honestly. I would just drive up and turn away. Probably turn towards midfield here. And if he panics and hits it towards the sidewall, you can turn in and come repossess the ball. All right. Okay, so let's think about that tip I gave earlier again. This is not as bad. It's not as bad because it's going to be impossible to make a touch that's not somewhat towards your opponent, right? A touch not towards your opponent here would be like going in this direction. But your touch, if I remember correctly, is a bit sharp, right? It closes again. It's a touch towards your opponent that closes down the space that you have. So if instead you take your touch slightly wider, yes, it's bringing you more towards the sidewall, which closes your offensive position, your offensive options down a little bit at this rank especially. But again, you're lingering after you get that touch, you're lingering behind the ball, seeing if he will come and challenge you. If he comes and challenges you, then again, you're able to cut it past him. So by touching the ball away from your opponent, keeping that angle, that loose angle away from your opponent gives you those options, pretty much those same options every time of cutting it past them, starting a bounce dribble, getting the ball on your hood for a flick, or hook shotting. Same thing as the last play that I already explained, so I don't need to go over them and draw them all out again. But pretty much every time that you're able to successfully not hit the ball towards your opponent on your first touch, you've given yourself all of those options every time. You've given yourself 4 attacking options every single time that you set up the play correctly. So notice, had you taken that touch just slightly more, honestly, the ball would probably be about where you are. We see, boom, boom, boom. Okay, you see how you're poking it from this position? Let me play it super slow-mo. Okay, that's not slow-mo. Come on, give me slow-mo. Boom. Boom. The touch goes in this direction. You would have wanted that touch to go in this direction. And then you're boosting into a threatening position, which is right here behind the ball. Behind the ball, ready to cut into the ball's momentum, meaning the ball's traveling this direction. So at any point in time, you need to stay in a position, right? The ball's momentum is going like this. You need to stay in a position where at any point in time, you can reverse the ball's momentum. You can go the other direction. So if the ball's traveling in this direction here, you don't want to be here because you're not in a position where you can change the ball's direction, right? All you can do is move the ball this way. He can still challenge that. There's not a threat of getting cut. So instead, you're wanting to be back in like this area here where he can see this and he's likely not going to challenge, or if he does, it's a bad challenge, and you just drive into the side of the ball and you move it the opposite direction. There's literally no way he can hit the ball if you do it correctly, because he's trying to hit it this way and you're literally moving it the opposite direction. There's no way he can touch the ball unless he just reads it, obviously, and just instead of challenging in this direction, he just hard reads that you're going to cut it and he challenges in this direction. But then it also opens up the 5th possibility, which is faking. But again, at this rank, you're probably not faking. They're probably just going to go exactly where the ball is every single time, because people aren't really thinking like that at this rank. Again, I'm taking a lot of time on this analysis, but I hope you can see what I'm talking about, and you can see how you can take these touches slightly better. That would have been a good chance to probably go for a bump here. Right, you know he's about to drive onto this back wall. He has to. With where he's at now, he's got to. He's not jumping up for this. He's not going to jump for this at this position. It wouldn't make sense. You can read that he's about to drive up here, and you can actually probably go for this demo. Hindsight is 2020. It's fine that you didn't. But again, here, I mean, why are we jumping for this? Same thing as earlier. He's in a position where he can hit the ball, and if it gets past you, it's just a goal. So it's not free, safe, clean. You can see that. You just need to work on, like actually being a little bit more conscious in game, realizing that your opponent can hit the ball, and don't just like, you don't have to score. Every time the ball's in front of the net, you don't have to score. And you're getting baited a lot into thinking you do. You're panicking, you're seeing the ball that's scoreable, and you're panicking. You're like, oh, I gotta score it. But you don't, and you can't. And if you try to, and you try to force a goal that's not there in 1v1, you get scored on. Trying to force a goal that's not there will get you scored on every single time. Did he miss? Missed. Got lucky. Yeah! Schmitty, bro. Yeah, you're just not being very conscious right now at all. So you've got 21 boost at this point in time, and the ball is just about to land right in front of your net, and you're going for the boost. If you go for this boost, there's nobody defending. Again, this is 1v1. The ball's about to be in front of your net. You're just not being very conscious right now. Oh, he missed again. Well, that should have been another goal. But do you see that? I mean, that should be very obvious. It's like you're not being conscious, meaning you just weren't taking the time to look at this ball. Look at that. I mean, look at that ball. You need to realize, okay, this is right in front. This is literally dead center in the middle of my net. it's about to fall back down in front of my net, you can't go for the boost here. By the time you get to the boost, the ball's already going to be down in front of your net again. So that should have been a goal, and you need to be more conscious. You're not actually using your eyeballs and looking at the situation. You're just autopiloting really hard right now. Ooh. So that was a good chance. I mean, like, this is fine. Again, everybody watching, and you know, you gotta remember this is platinum gameplay. You can't tell somebody like, oh, could like control this ball, dribble this ball. Like, this is a tough ball to get to and start a dribble on. It is a tough ball to start a dribble on. Yes, you could start a dribble here, but this is a tough ball to get to and start a dribble. Ideally, though, I mean, the next highest level, like, mechanical thing that besides starting a dribble that I could have said here is don't flip off. Don't do your diagonal flip off in this direction. Your diagonal flip should have actually been in this direction, carrying you to the boost, because he can beat you to this boost right now if he wants to, but he luckily doesn't beat you to the boost and boost starve you. Not that you need boost right now, but he could have came in and stole this boost and then started shadowing. At a higher level, that's what would have happened. But if you flip in this direction, you're clearing the ball towards the boost with the same momentum as your car, and you're going to get there before him every time. So you flipping away in this direction, you're giving him the opportunity to steal your boost. That's beside the fact. I'm fine with that. I realize all that while watching this, like, Platinum 3 gameplay. Can't expect a whole, you know, that every time. But you did a good job staying with the ball, staying behind the ball, not really giving him any opportunity to do anything threatening there. That was the good part. And then you just got to finish this. Just finish the job here. You don't even have to flip into it. Just let it hit the front of your car. Boom. If you just let that roll off the front of your car, you're still grounded. You can catch up to it and finish it off. You don't even have to flip there. So that's just a little panicky. It's like, oh, I have an open net. If I can just hit it, ooh, and then you mess it up, right? If you wouldn't have flipped there, it would have been easier to finish that goal. It's all right, though. Uh-oh. I don't really love flipping here either. There's no reason to flip into this. Right? What's the benefit here? What's going to happen if you flip into this? Versus you just maybe either don't hit it at all or just drive into it and drive back down and steal the boost. Right? Hook into it. Hook it. Hard to draw at this angle. Let me just fly perspective this. Come on, fly. Yeah. I mean, if you just hook into this, boom, you send it up in the same direction as if you flipped into it, but now instead of landing out here with 0 boost, you can just drive back down the wall, grab the boost, and then you have 100 boost. And you maybe could have scored that. I don't know if it would have came off the ceiling as soon or at all if you hadn't flipped into it, but there's no benefit to flipping into the ball there, right? Again, you can probably see what I mean. But at this rank, a lot of it is just being able to not panic. I remember when I was this rank. I remember when I was like platinum, diamond rank. And I remember going through the process of just not panicking, especially on defense. Like, that was one of the biggest tips and biggest hurdles to overcome, is not panicking. Like, I remember I used to play, and on defense, like in a sketchy situation, my heart would be racing. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go, block, block, block. And your heart's beating and racing, and then eventually a switch just flipped, and I was able, I don't even remember if a switch just flipped or if I gradually got better at it, but I think one day I was just like less panicked on D, and I just stopped panicking, and it just makes everything so much easier, and you're able to, again, not be on autopilot. Everything isn't just a blur, right? When you're on autopilot and you're panicking, you get tunnel vision, and it's like Literally everything around what you're looking at is just blurry. You don't actually see anything. And this is, you may not realize this, but really, like, if you're an introspective person and you're very analytical of things, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, when you're tunnel vision, when you're on autopilot, when you're panicking, you don't actually see anything. Like, when I'm playing the game and I'm playing too fast, or I'm panicking too much, I'm not actually seeing the game. I'm not actually seeing anything. Literally, like, it sounds weird. And it sounds like that's not true. That's not, like, no. You'd be surprised. Like, if you're one of those players, especially usually around like low champion to like grand champion rank, who thinks that they need to go supersonic the whole time, the downside to that is that you're not actually seeing the game. When you're going that fast the whole game, you're not actually seeing anything. You're not seeing opportunities. Everything is just sort of your tunnel vision, and everything around your one little field of view is just a blur. So you really need to focus on getting better at not panicking. And that would fix a lot of these mistakes. And that kind of just goes hand in hand with when I'm saying be more conscious. Because like I said, when you're panicking, you're not conscious of everything going on around you. So really focus when you're playing these games, focus on not panicking. Just breathe normally throughout the whole thing. Start feeling your heart racing. That's how you know you're panicking. Eventually that will stop. It takes time, it takes practice, but just realize, like, I don't know, it's hard to teach not panicking, but I would say, I don't know how to teach not panicking. But that is what you need to work on. Because panicking can be offensive, like we just saw. That was panic. That was a panic touch. Someone who's not panicking, who's actually conscious and focused, isn't doing that. So long rant, but I think it was a good one. And it's a very big piece of it. It's a big hurdle that every Rocket League player goes through, for sure. Every Rocket League player goes through the panic stage. And when you get past that stage, your gameplay will improve dramatically. It's like same thing there. You make that touch and you realize it was a mistake, and then instantly you're panicking. Like, oh crap, I just messed up. I gotta get back super quick. And then what happens? You make a bad flip, right? Like, okay, I made that bad touch. We don't have to panic. He can't score immediately here. Land. Flip first and boost through your flip. But you used all your boost and then you flipped. So you have no momentum and you didn't flip in the direction you were boosting. So the boost didn't even help your movement speed at all. So, you know, it's kind of a movement issue. It's a recovery issue. It's a movement issue. But I think it really comes back to panicking. I think if you weren't panicking, you could have made this movement, this flip, much more fluid. Right? If you were in training and you were flipping from here to the mid boost, you wouldn't do it like that, right? That wouldn't have been your flip. Or if you were flipping from, you know, if you were trying to get back to your net, if you were just in training, flipping around the field, that's not how you would have flipped, is it? No. So I think it's really coming back to just not panicking. Ooh, that's the goal. That's a goal, baby. Oh, that's a goal. Tough. I mean, it happens. And it looks super silly. It looks like that was the worst open net miss anyone has ever done in their entire life, right? But the fundamental reason of why that happened is something that affects everybody, even at Grand Champion. So don't feel bad about that. Really? The reason you missed this shot is because you jumped with no momentum. That's why you missed this shot. And this happens, it happens to me. It happens to other Grand Champions. And it happens to everybody between your rank and Grand Champion. So, you know, at face value, this looks like a terrible open net miss. But the reason behind the open net miss is because you jumped with no momentum. So you jumped in place, and now you can't generate any momentum except by boosting. But the problem is you don't have enough boost to get there. So if you had instead driven forward and then jumped, you would have momentum going in the direction you want to go, and you can reach the ball. Because you jumped without any momentum and you don't have enough boost to be able to make up for that mistake, you can't score it. You see what I mean? So looks super silly, but on a fundamental level, even at Grand Champ, people make that mistake of when you're low boost in net, right? But like there's a shot coming at you with, even on 0 boost, you could save it, but you just accidentally jump before you build any momentum going the direction you need to go, right? That happens. I know because it happens to me. It happens to everybody. Okay. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. So one more piece of advice I'll give you. Learn to dribble with your ball cam off. Because this happens when you try to dribble with ball cam on. The ball gets if the ball gets a millimeter behind the center of your car, literally if it's 1 frame behind the center of your car, your camera will do a 180 and start facing the opposite direction. Because the ball is technically, as soon as its center is 1 frame behind the center of your car, the ball is technically behind you now. And so your camera will go from facing forward to facing backwards, which is why it's much better as soon as you get the ball on top of your car, or as soon as you're even about to get the ball on top of your car for a dribble, you turn your ball cam off so that your car stays facing forward, right? Instead of having this awkward position to look at where you're looking up at the ball, like this or something, the ball, your cam would actually be like much more normal. I hope you, again, just visualize what I'm saying. We've all seen people dribble. We know how it's supposed to look. That's not how it's supposed to look. And you avoid making this mistake by turning your ball cam off as soon as you make the touch, or as soon as the ball is about to get on your head. So boom, you make that touch, and then you turn your ball cam off. Ooh, what happened here? You just weren't boosting on your kickoff. Boost. Wait. You just straight up. Well, let me see his kickoff. Okay. So you just flipped too early on yours. I haven't done a front flip kickoff in forever, so I didn't exactly remember how it's supposed to look. It looked fine initially on what you did, but so what he's doing is he's just flipping slightly later than you, and he's going supersonic on the flip. So if you would have boosted a slightly longer, get up to like right at supersonic speed, and then flip, that flip will carry your supersonic speed, maintain your supersonic speed, or rather that flip will get you supersonic. So you're boosting right before you get supersonic, then you flip. That flip finishes your build of speed to supersonic, and you're not having to boost anymore in order to get there. So you're saving a tiny bit of boost by using the flip. That's the purpose of the flip. You save a tiny bit of boost on your way to supersonic speed. But watch him do it one more time. He's the front flip kickoff master. Boom, you notice how right before he started going supersonic to where his camera zooms out, right? Because that's what your camera stiffness setting is. When you hit supersonic speed, depending on how high you have your stiffness set, how high or low, your camera will zoom out a little when you reach supersonic speed. That's how you know you're going supersonic, as well as the trail behind your wheels, obviously. But right before he goes supersonic, right before his camera starts to zoom out, he flips, and that flip is what makes him reach supersonic speed. He doesn't have to boost to reach supersonic speed anymore. He lands closer to the ball because he was slightly faster than you, and he's able to just hit it past you. So I would watch a kickoff tutorial on the basics, front flip. I think if you YouTube search Rocket League kickoff progression, something like that, it'll come up with a video literally going from front flip to diagonal flip to speed flips. Give you a solid concrete video to watch. Okay, my advice here, again, the obvious thing to say that isn't super helpful. I mean, it is a little helpful. I could say, okay, catch this for a dribble. Don't try to hit it. You're just hitting it away from yourself. That's the typical thing I hear people say. But again, we have to remember we're at Plat 3, and this is a ball it's super close. Like, by the time he can get here to catch it, you would have to execute on your approach to this ball perfectly in order to catch it for a flick here, in order to take possession of it. And that's the typical advice you would hear somebody say in this position. But because you would have to get to this ball so perfectly timed in order to actually catch this ball, that's not the advice I'm going to give you here. Yes, on a surface level, if you think you can get to this ball perfectly and catch this, take control of it, for sure. But what I'm going to do instead is say, what is flipping into this ball going to do? Flipping into this ball isn't going to do anything for you because you're hitting it into their corner. In any game mode, but especially 1v1, the corner is a very safe place to be on defense. And just like we were saying earlier at the start of this analysis, where if the ball's in this position, you really can't do anything, it's kind of the same position in your opponent's corner. Not quite as bad, but like if you're chasing a defender into their corner, a lot of the time at higher level 1v1, you have to be very careful when approaching an opponent's corner. It's super common to concede a goal on offense. As the offender, it's very common to concede a goal when you push too far into your opponent's corner because they have a wall, literally a wall behind them, just like this wood wall behind me. Any touch that you make is going to bounce off of said wall for the defender. If you hit it here, it bounces out for the defender. If you hit it here, it bounces out for the defender. If you get the ball, maybe hit it here off the very tight corner, it shoots off sharply towards the net, so like they can't immediately put it in the back of your net, but there's still you can't do anything with that ball. The only play at pretty much most levels of 1v1, the only dangerous play you can make in your opponent's corner is to get the ball rolling up and then veer off and demo them as they're coming up to try and shadow the ball or to clear the ball, right? As they start driving up the wall to try to get to the ball, or as they are shadowing the ball back down towards the net, you veer off and you demo them, and then the ball lands in front of their net for free and you get the cleanup goal. We've all had that happen to us. We know the exact play I'm talking about, but think about it. That's really the only dangerous play that can happen to you in your own corner. When you take a 50-50 with this player, he's got a wall behind him. Any 50-50 that shoots off of the wall is coming right back center for them to have the counterattack. So you don't want to take a 50-50 in your opponent's corner. You don't want to hit the ball off of the opponent's corner. It's situational. You might find an opportunity where you can maybe score if you hit the ball off your opponent's corner. But most of the time, don't try to force a play in your opponent's corner unless you're going to be rolling the ball and then going for the demo. That's really the only good play out of your opponent's corner that you can make. And on the flip side, like if I'm playing 1v1, I kid you not, every time, every single time, if the ball is rolling to my corner, they're hot on my heels and I'm coming from like this angle and I'm gonna scoop up that way, or I'm coming from this angle and I'm gonna, if they want to challenge me in my corner, I take it every single time. And 90% of the time that somebody challenges you in your corner, you will score, or you will have a really good chance to score. Challenging in your opponent's corner is not a good idea, and taking a challenge in your own corner is usually a really good idea. So that goes back to why are we flipping at that ball? So again, you could tell this platinum player, control this, you know, control this. But look, by the time he has to get to this ball perfectly. Like, oh, you see how close that is? You would have to get like a perfect corner touch to set this up on your. We're not doing this. We're not there yet, okay? And you can tell you're not there yet. So the advice here is just realize that hitting this into your opponent's corner is not going to do anything for you. But don't do it. Even if that means you just have to wait for the next bounce and just sit behind the ball here, that's better than hitting it into your corner and setting up your opponent for free. Right there, that's the position I'm talking about. A lot of the time you'll find yourself in. Boom, here. And then he's kind of close. You couldn't really do it in this play. But if he was like staying down here, shadowing the ball, or if there was a little bit more space between him and the ball here, you could go for the demo. Ball would be rolling in front of the net, it'd be free. That's exactly what I was just talking about. Again, kind of panicking. Right, this flip again. We're not super conscious here on this play again, because with the flip you used and the amount of boost you have, you can't reach this ball. You need to reach this ball. You need to hit this ball back to your end so that he can't score this open net. You can also veer off this direction and start picking up these pads as you rotate back to keep you boosted up and maintain your speed a little bit more as well. So that's a tough situation. It is a tough situation, but you do have to realize if you're gonna flip here, you need to hit the ball. Because if you don't hit the ball, well, that's a tough one. I mean, like, it's tough, but we'll let that one slide. We'll kind of put it back into the same category of maybe not panicking. If you were a little bit more conscious, a little less panicky in that situation, you might have had the presence of mind to be able to get that touch on the ball. That situation just, it didn't look as panicky. It looked like you just sort of didn't have very good movement there. Flip, 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 flip. What are you waiting for? He's beating you to the mid boost. He's now got full boost. There's nothing you're going to be able to do on this ball if you don't have boost, right? This isn't centering for you. I mean, watch the ball. Does it look like it's going to come center? No, that's not coming center. There's no way that ball's coming center. You have zero boost. He's beating. You gotta go flip and take this boost. That's your only chance here. You gotta go take that boost. He's not gonna do anything to turn this around into a goal between the time that you get his boost and now. So you're free to go take his boost, get 100 boost, and then maintain your offense here, right? If you had gone and taken it, even if it took you a little long to realize, like, boom, okay, now go, flip towards his boost, go, go, go. Boom, you just got his boost. He's got maybe like 60 boost because he had to use some to get back after getting the midfield boost. You've got 100. The ball's in this position now, and you're looking pretty decent. You're on the ball, you're staying close to him, you're pressuring him, you're maybe getting a little bump on him here, something to pressure him. That was a really good chance for him to mess up, do something silly, and you get a goal, or at the very least for you to have 100 boost, him 60 in this position, and you can fight for possession a little bit. But you just did nothing. You had downtime, right? Nothing's going on right now, so go take the boost. You've got downtime. Instead of sitting there doing nothing, go take the boost. Nice save. That's got to be a goal. Oh, you're taking forever to line that up. Oh. Oh, I think you're also probably not using any air roll, right? And that's partly the reason why you had to take so long. I don't think you're probably comfortable using air roll at all, are you? Even free air roll. I don't think you're even using much free air roll, especially on your shots. I would open some basic training packs and start practicing air roll shots, because without air roll, this is a difficult shot to get to on time. So I'm like, oh, you're taking forever to go for this shot. But for somebody who isn't using air roll, you do have to wait, because in order to not take an air roll shot, the benefit of an air roll shot is that you can shoot at an angle. That's the benefit of an air roll. So you can approach the ball at this angle and still shoot it towards midfield. Whereas if you can only shoot with forward momentum, if that makes sense, then you have to get behind the ball first, like we see you do. So I don't think you're comfortable air roll shooting. Regardless, that will be a tough shot. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna be a slightly difficult shot, but better to start missing those shots and working on it now at Platinum than getting to Grand Champion or Low Champion or something like that, realizing, okay, I want to start using air roll, and then you're messing all of your open net shots up because you haven't practiced air roll shots yet. So start practicing air roll shots. You could have shot that ball again on the half volley, on the bounce. You could have shot that ball with air roll. But also on this one, don't be afraid. This is open still. So don't be afraid of just front flipping into this, right? You don't have to hit the ball with the corner of your car and get maximum speed every time. You don't have to get maximum speed every shot. Sometimes just putting it on target is the best thing you can do. And if you just get lined up and just front flip into it, probably be the easiest way to secure that goal. Ooh, no, no, dude, oh my god. That's pure pain, dude. Oh my. How long is this OT? I have to go somewhere soon. Okay, we should be able to watch it. Again, turning off that ball cam when we're starting a dribble will make this way easier. You see how your ball cam's doing a whole bunch of crazy looking around and spinning around, and you can't dribble like that? Well, it's not just you. Nobody dribbles like that. You turn your ball cam off when you start a dribble. Even when the ball is on the ground like that. See how as soon as you cut into the ball like that, you can't see your opponent anymore. But if your ball cam was off, you'd still be able to see your opponent, because you'd still be looking forward rather than sideways at the ball. But I would just, general piece of advice, just so you start getting the hang of it, anytime you're making a ground play, I would would almost, I don't know if I want to give that advice to just turn off ball cam whenever you're making a ground play. But especially anytime you are putting the ball on your hood, turn your ball cam off. Oh, this is open. My God. Nice. You finished the open net that mattered the most. So, I mean, so a lot of this was 1v1 IQ, to be quite honest, which is good because these are things that really most people don't know until they start playing 1v1 a good amount. Like, you could be a grand champion 2v2 and 3v3 player, but you never play ones, and you wouldn't know the things that I said here until you started playing ones and you started learning from those mistakes, or you started analyzing or listening to pro 1v1 players and start taking tips from them. And I'm literally like talking, this is like me, I'm describing. I'm literally GC2, 2s and 3s for multiple seasons, and then I started playing a little bit of ones, and I didn't know it was a bad idea to challenge in your opponent's corner. I didn't realize sometimes there's just a ball you can't, it's literally giving you the same advice that I had to learn myself. And it's just 1v1 tips for the most part. But other than those specific 1v1 tips, your number one thing you got to work on is not panicking and staying conscious and using your eyeballs to actually look at what's going on and make a decision based on that. Don't just autopilot, don't just tunnel vision and not be able to actually analyze and see what's going on. Don't panic. Use your eyeballs, stay conscious. And then 2, still got to work on our fundamental mechanics a little bit, our movement around the field, our kickoffs, and our air roll shots. So get a little bit more comfortable with, tilting your car and shooting, air rolling and shooting. Maybe, I don't know if you know how to half flip. Maybe learn how to half flip. And by half flip, I don't mean the half flip where you cancel a back flip and then air roll over. That's the cheater's way. Learn an actual half flip, a pro sort of half flip. I think learning a half flip would be a very good mechanic for you to learn to start understanding diagonal flips, understanding... I don't think you can half flip. I didn't see you half flip once, I don't think, this game. And if you do half flip, I think you're a cheater half flipper, Schmitty. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're somebody who would probably cancel a back flip and air roll over. That's cheating. Watch my half flip tutorial. I'll just show you really quick. I'll show you the difference. Why not? We've never done this before in a replay analysis. We're doing it live. Right? This is the cheater's half flip. Oh my gosh, I can't even do it. Right? That's the cheater's half flip. That's not as fast and also doesn't teach you as much as a normal half flip would. Right? So there's this. Or there's this. So learn how to do this half flip. And I think that would actually be like a pretty good mechanic to start training your mechanics a little bit. Like, you actually have to go out there and start practicing advanced mechanics like half flips and wave dashes and air roll shots to actually ever improve mechanically. Hope that makes sense. But I gotta go, guys. Like I said, I gotta be somewhere. Hope you enjoyed the analysis. It was a long one, but it was a good one. But sorry for it being so long. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. More educational Rocket League content coming, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.